Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the fishing kayak Ascend FS12T. Now this is not Ascend's newest model, but they did have this model available, I believe, starting in 2014. I'm not too sure when they discontinued it, but we're going to talk a little bit about the specifications, a couple cool features it has, and obviously about that famous Ascend V that it's got that chops directly through waves without a problem. Now, Ascend fishing kayaks, a little bit of a backstory or brand familiarity. It's actually a very cool fishing kayak brand that many anglers have loved due to the raised seat, very good storage capabilities, cool rod holder, and very stable and streamlined, sporty design. So there are a lot of different opinions on terms of the stability of Ascend kayaks, specifically the FS12T, because of how narrow it is in comparison to other fishing kayaks in the same category. Now, I personally purchased this kayak for only $300 using OfferUp, so we're going to compare it to other kayaks in that ballpark range that you would find at Walmart, more consumer-based brands that aren't so geared towards fishing, like Lifetime and Sun Dolphin. So big difference here in terms of the overall quality of the kayak. Extremely heavy kayak, which could be a pro or a con. If you want to be tracking very easily, Ascend kayaks are a great option because of how well they track because of the weight of the kayak. Also, the deep V, which is the pointy part in front on the bow of the kayak, allows you to slice through waves much easier than a rounded Sun Dolphin or more consumer brand kayak. So I think Ascend kayaks, if you can find good used deals, even if it's the older model like the FS12T, is a great option instead of going and buying new at Walmart and getting a much lesser quality brand kayak. So we're going to take a second, deep dive, a couple cool features on the Ascend FS12T. And before I get into that, please guys, go ahead and subscribe. That way you could go ahead and check out the newest video we're making on the Ascend FS12T for the stability, water test, and fishing test. In that video, we're going to be standing up, fishing, hopefully catch a couple fish, and just kind of talk about whether or not the Ascend FS12T is as stable as people say it is. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the V on this Ascend fishing kayak. As you can tell, extremely sharp V. The same way I think of a knife is the same way I think of the V on these kayaks. You know, the sharper it is, the better it's going to cut. And this is an extremely sharp V for cutting through those offshore waves or in those heavy surf environments. Another cool thing about the bow is this flare that's kind of deflecting a lot of that side spray from coming in and getting you wet. So essentially, a lot of these waves that are coming will kind of just roll off the bow and deflect back down to the surface and not really make its way into the inside of the kayak, getting you wet. So very cool feature, sharp V, extended flare, great for offshore environments, and kind of great for just chopping aggressively through waves. Very cool feature on the Ascend kayak. Let's go ahead and touch base on other parts of this thing. Next up, we have this chair. One of my favorite features for sure, because it does kind of make you feel a little bit higher up off the water, and I think every kayaker would agree that's a great thing. Also folds really easily, just like that. Very easy to remove, so you can wash it, whatever you need to do, and kind of just go ahead and insert it again, no problem, and it kind of just locks into place. So best feature about the chair is you're very risen up in comparison to other kayaks where it's kind of integrated into it and you kind of feel like you're like sloped in or trapped inside the kayak. Not my favorite feature in a kayak, so I really do appreciate the higher feeling when sitting on an Ascend chair. Let's go ahead and look at some other stuff. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit here about the Bungees. As you can tell, extremely durable. This is a much older kayak, and they're in relatively good shape. Very standard. The best thing here is just the quality, so very cool setup when it comes to the Bungees. After that, we're going to dive straight into the storage. Very cool because, like in most boats, you kind of flip this hatch and then twist, and you'll go ahead and get the option to open up. Another really cool feature is this is extremely dry because of the seal that they have on it, so that's always awesome, being on a kayak and being able to keep things dry. And you'll just go ahead and lock it just like that. Also, we have the dry area, so basically it's like a dry bag. You could put, you know, GoPro batteries, a phone, any sort of thing that you kind of want to keep protected from the salt water. also another really cool feature is these little plugs. Now, what I like about those plugs so much is they will kind of decide whether, let's say you're going to be in a heavy, watery, splashy environment, you're probably going to want to leave those things open so the water could drain much easier. If you're in an area that's much calmer, like a lake, you're going to want to just go ahead and plug these in so you can stay dry all day. So I'll show you how that works. Right here, you're just going to go ahead and plug one at a time. So that's one right there. You're going to grab another one, plug that hole, and just repeat that all over the kayak. You have another 2 holes here in the back. You're going to plug those. Let's go ahead and grab that and plug those. So I think you guys get the idea. You could plug this whole board and make it completely watertight in an area where there's not too much flooding and not too much, I guess, side spray or a lot of waves. You'll stay completely dry. In an area where there's a lot more waves and a lot more surf, you're going to want to take these out and let all of that drain a lot easier. So definitely a really cool feature here. So the next feature we have on this kayak is a paddle holder. All you're going to do is flip those things up, grab your paddle, and go ahead and place it. And this feature is great because a lot of times you're fishing, or you're at a sandbar drinking, whatever it might be, and there's a perfectly good place to mount your paddle. And like I said, guys, 300 bucks for this board is incredible deal in comparison to what you'll get at some of these consumer retail stores like Walmart, Bass Pro, Dick's Sporting Goods, and so on. So very cool, very customizable. FS12T is a great option so far. So speaking of rod holders, this kayak's got 2 of them already built into the kayak. I really do like the rod holders because the way the rod sits, it's more in line with the kayak versus how most kayak brands, they'll kind of imply that you're going to be trolling or something, and most of the time your rod will kind of sit at a very wide angle, almost like an outrigger, and I hate that. So one thing I really do like about Ascend is they keep you streamlined. So if you're going through tight areas, you're not rubbing up against mangroves with your rod sticking all the way out. They were smart enough to kind of make it stick very streamlined to the board. So if you're going through a small bridge gap, whatever, you don't have to worry about taking your rods down because they might hit a pylon. So guys, overall, I believe this is a great kayak for a beginner. Great for somebody who wants to get into offshore fishing, saltwater fishing, kind of like tackle new areas without really breaking the bank. I definitely recommend using Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist, just to see what kind of deals you can get on older model Ascend kayaks. Like I said, these are not comparable to like a Sun Dolphin or comparable to those Walmart brand Lifetime kayaks. This is definitely a more fishing niche kayak. So if you're trying to really get into the fishing kayak realm, this is a great way to start, used, not the newest model. And I personally think for the money, $300, I think you guys can get something under 500 is a great deal to put you in a very, very good quality kayak and kind of keep you safe while you're out there at the same time. So once again, guys, we're gonna do a little bit more in-depth review on this kayak in another episode where we're gonna be taking it out on the water, on the beach, wherever you guys would like. Comment it below and let's see how this thing does fishing and actually out there in the element. Once again, guys, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next episode.